Hi folks, I'm Gord Harris from Ontario, Canada, and I'm going to demonstrate a few methods of synthesizer modulation in this Ableton Live instrument called Analog. This is a compact little paid plugin with 2 oscillators, 2 filters, 2 VCAs, 2 LFOs, and 4 envelope generators. It computes big clean sounds mathematically, based on physical modeling. Different parameters can be modulated by the signals from different sources, including the LFOs, the envelope generators, and the keyboard, etc. First, let's look at modulating pitch of oscillator 1 with LFO 1. In Live, when you double-click on Instruments Analog, the instrument will appear at bottom. If you play a note, there is no vibrato because LFO 1 is turned off and pitch modulation is at 0. Let's turn on LFO 1 by clicking on it and set the rate around 1 Hz and the shape to a triangle. If we adjust the width control to 0, we can change it to a positive ramp. But if we play a note, nothing changes because we've not chosen the destination for this modulation. To hear it, we must click on VCO1 to enable display parameters. Notice LFO1 pitch mod is still set to 0, which is why we hear no effect. We have to set the amount of modulation by adjusting that parameter by clicking and dragging. If we play a note now and drag the amount to 1, we can hear our sawtooth modulation and can vary it with LFO1 rate control. For simplicity, let's turn off oscillator 2. Selecting oscillator 1 again by clicking, we can also change the direction of the pitch modulation by dragging down on pitch mod parameter to -1. Modulating pitch with an LFO for vibrato is so common that Analog is a separate hardwired LFO called Vibe that we can turn on and adjust amount and a rate like this to add some interest and warmth to the sound. Another common musical thing to modulate is the timbre or harmonic content of the sound, using voltage-controlled filters. In this example of a guitar drone, we activate the destination, a low-pass 24 dB per octave filter, by clicking on Fill 1 to see and control all its parameters. The main source of modulation here is the ADSR envelope with parameters in blue at top of the display area. If we play some notes and adjust attack, we can hear the difference in brightness over time and see that on the spectrum display. We can also adjust the amount of LFO1 modulation by clicking and dragging on the orange frequency mod parameter under LFO1 to give a wobble bass or wah-wah effect. Notice also that higher notes on the keyboard sound brighter than low notes in timbre because the key parameter is set to 111%. We can also time modulate the filter resonance as a separate destination with the same source LFO1 using the Res Mod section. In this patch, VCF1 is being controlled by LFO, keyboard, and envelope all at once. A limiter is useful to control volume clipping if resonance is turned too high. For this next example of a deep mono brass sound, very similar settings are used in the envelope generators for VCF and VCA amplifier. If we click on Amp 1, we can focus on the amplifier being controlled by its own dedicated envelope. So our destination is VCA 1, and our main source is this envelope controlled by these parameters here in blue, shown as the ADSR graph at left. Unlike a percussive or plucked instrument, a horn sound builds up more gradually as our lips and the mouthpiece begin to vibrate, so a slower attack time to volume is important and a fairly high sustain. Also, an exponential curve sounds more realistic than linear. The proper amount of modulation is important for more realism. Adding -20 dB of noise suggests breath warmth, and about 50% vibrato adds some human expression. In this patch, adding a little bit of positive direction of LFO modulation for pan and keyboard, and negative for envelope and level mod seems to add interest. If pan modulation is too high, like 1 equals 100%, it gets too contrived. So fine-tuning with careful listening is the key to more realistic synthesized sounds. My final example of modulation is this Formant voice drone simulation of Tuvan throat singing, with VCO's pulse width controlled by LFOs, and VCF's frequency and resonance amount controlled by me manually twiddling 2 knobs. We're out of time, so I hope you enjoy the many possibilities of modulation in your synths. Thank you.